What if I were to tell you that a Renathal rogue deck has the potential of hitting rank 1 legend? Parawox was able to reach rank 1 legend with his take on Renathal Jackpot Rogue. And honestly, I've seen some other people messing with this archetype, but for the life of me, I can't find any other screenshots. However, I am 99% confident that Bunny Hopper was at least playing this deck at some point, because I remember him playing a lot of Thief Priest as well as Renathal Rogue this season. But when I was looking at this list, I was completely confused on how we even survive as a Renathal Rogue deck. Because the biggest disadvantage of putting this legendary in the Rogue class is that Rogue does have a decent amount of card draw, but its tempo turns are a lot more important for the consistency of the deck to be notable. But while experimenting with this deck in top 1000 legend, almost top 500 legend, I have been able to maintain a 61% win rate with a 17 and 11 score. And what have I learned in this time? It's that this Rogue deck has a fair shot at beating almost any deck on the ladder right now. And when we eventually look at the HS replay stats that support this deck, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But what exactly do I mean by the most fair deck in Hearthstone? To find out, go ahead and subscribe to this channel in order to be notified about any other future uploads that we happen to come out with. Because as of right now, only 26% of people that watch my videos are actually subscribed. So if you would like to see these rank 1 deck guides as soon as they come out, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. To put it simply, looking at my stats and looking at HS replay stats, there is not one single favorable matchup for this deck. You may have some matchups that are slightly favored for you, like Thief Priest, Control Shaman, as well as Thief Rogue. But to be honest, these matchups really aren't too good. They're barely above a 50%. So this Rogue deck is actually very good at doing the same thing against every single deck in the game. And to be honest, I'm not really sure how many decks feel like they have a quote-unquote fair matchup against almost everything on the ladder. However, it is important to point out that this deck's weaknesses do include Rant Druid, Beast Hunter, as well as Edwin Rogue decks. Because unfortunately, this Rogue deck does not have the capability of being able to stop any kind of major scams, such as large stealth minions that can't be targeted. And with the Ramp Druid matchup, if they hit their perfect ramp turns, it's very hard for us to get any amount of wiggle room, because the way that we beat Druid is by setting up a board and eventually dealing heavy damage. Sired and Nathrias can be very important in this matchup, but to be honest, the Ramp Druid matchup is completely dependent on how often they clear your board, how often they ramp, and if they have their Sire before you do. Now let's take a look at some of the win cons. And a lot of these win conditions will be explained better once the stats are on the screen, but let's go over them before we look at any Mulligan data. The most consistent ways that you're going to win with this deck is through sheer tempo. Even though this is a quote-unquote control rogue with 40 HP, at its heart, it's still a deck that wants to fight for the board and wants to maintain its overall dominance. Cards like Wildpaw Knoll, Reconnaissance, Tooth and Nefarian, as well as Krakatoa are great examples of cards that can not only fight for tempo, but also have potential scams. We all know the possibility of 0-mana Knolls, but Reconnaissance is a card that gets often underevaluated in this deck. Because I cannot tell you the amount of times that Reconnaissance is just a better Queen Ashara and somehow finds that Gigafin that will immediately win the game. And with the addition of cards like Tess Greymane as well as Contraband Stash, having meaningful death rattles or just off-class minions that give you a huge advantage, such as a large taunt minion, can be a huge advantage that you can easily use over and over again. So always be wary of ways that you can find other cards that might just solo the game for you. Which actually leads us into our second win condition, random outs. And the most common way to win with your random outs is obviously through Jackpot. We'll get to this in a minute, but Jackpot has the highest kept Mulligan win rate out of any card in this deck. And it makes sense that it's one of the best cards in this deck. Not only does it reduce the cost of your Null by 2 mana, but it gives you honest-to-God win conditions that your opponent cannot play around. And because of your Tess Greymane and Contraband Stash, you're able to play the same card over and over again if you have a really high roll off a Jackpot. But there are multiple cards that can give us amazing random win cons in order to win the game. Besides Jackpot, there are cards like Queen Ashara as well as Murloc Holmes. And yes, I do believe that you want to keep Murloc Holmes in this deck. We'll get to the Queen here in a second, but let's talk about Murloc Holmes and why this card is so valuable. According to the stats, he's one of the worst Mulligan win rate cards, one of the worst drawn win rate cards, and is debatably the worst played win rate card. So why am I telling you to hold on to this card and to actually use it in this deck? Number one, I believe that Murloc Holmes is going to make anybody a better Hearthstone player for simply just getting its value. If you're able to get the value out of Murloc Holmes, you are already an above average Hearthstone player. But the other reason why I think that Murloc Holmes should stay in this deck is because it gives you ways of being able to look at your opponent's hand, which is not something I would ever take lightly. Because even if you do miss the value out of Murloc Holmes and you at least get past the first step, which, let's be honest, should be very easy to complete, the second step gives you a peek into the hand, and even if you do get the answer wrong, you know that the correct card is currently in their hand and the other two cards are still in the deck. And that last part is super crucial. Say there is an AoE that was offered that you're completely scared of wiping out your entire board. Well, now that you know that it's in the hand, you don't have to worry about potentially getting your board removed, and instead you can fight for more tempo, trying to close out the game faster rather than playing the late game strategy. This isn't a surefire way to win a lot of your games, but I absolutely love what Murloc Holmes can add into this deck, because information is king. And in order to rule over the Hearthstone ladder, sometimes you have to put your faith in cards that may not seem that powerful. And the last win condition with this deck are your big legendaries. And no, I'm not just talking about Sire Nathria as well as Shadowcrafter Scabs. This may come as a shock to you guys, but the highest Mulligan win rate card in this deck is actually Queen Ashara. So kings, you better stand aside. Queen Ashara is by far the best card in this deck due to its versatility. There are 4 treasures you can choose from, but to be honest, you're most likely only going to choose 2 of them. And that is going to be the ring as well as the horn. The horn pick is usually the most common out of Queen, because getting a 1-mana Colossal that can turn the tides of the game is very important. Colossal minions like Gigafin, Blackwater Behemoth, as well as an extra Krakatoa can go a very long way. And especially if these minions stick, the Colossal minions may solo the game for you. However, there are other options where choosing the ring might be more advantageous. One common example is its synergy with Wicked Stab, because in the late game you can literally pressure 12 damage for 3 mana if you pick ring. So just because you have the Queen Ashara value doesn't mean you're going to immediately roll into the 1-mana Colossal minion every single time. There may be times where you have to choose one of the other treasures. And to be honest, I haven't chosen these other 2 treasures yet, but there are situations to where you can at least pick the weapon to deal a lethal amount of damage. It's not going to be that common, but it is still a possibility. And to be honest, I've never chosen the 4th treasure due to the fact that I believe that this is only going to see play if this is your last resort on trying to find an answer. But in short, choosing the ring and choosing the horn are probably going to be the best options out of Queen, simply due to the fact that they just solo the game. Now let's talk about Sire Nathria. Does Sire Nathria really need to be in this deck? Yes, because you have Shadow Step. There are a lot of times where Sire Nathria will not get value because you haven't drawn him yet, and there may be situations to where he is just a dead card sitting in the far left of your hand. But remember, this is a quote-unquote control rogue, and it has ways of being able to push into the late game, which is one of the reasons why I love this deck so much. It's not just a tempo deck that immediately fails if its board is taken care of. Now you have a legitimate win condition that you can push to the end of the game where every single wave of minions suddenly becomes a very real threat, especially if the Sire has been in your hand the entire time. And if you guys will notice, there is no Bran Bronzebeard in the deck, because there are not enough Battlecry minions in order to justify slotting him into this deck. However, there was a game where I was able to steal my opponent's Bran thanks to the help of Murloc Holmes. During this game, I was able to play Sire Nathria into Shadow Step and then set up my Shadowcrafter Scabs, meaning that I have a 6-mana Nathria waiting in the wings. And during this game where I was able to steal a Bran, which again is literally not run in my deck, the potential of this deck was essentially slapping me in the face. And this is just one of many examples of the potential scams that you can have while playing this rogue deck. And since we have a quote-unquote fair matchup into everything, since we can not only steal their cards, but we can also steal random outs, it makes it easier to see why this deck is performing so well. But the potential of Sire Nathria is absolutely unmet. And because of the inclusion of Shadow Step, there are ways of getting multiple values out of your Sire Nathria. So if you do need to play a Sire Nathria as a win con, you do have that option, but there is still the possibility of using him for meaningful heal, which is how I believe Sire Nathria should be used. It's not just a card that should come down every single time that you automatically win the game. It should have moments to where you use it as an honest-to-God lifeline. And this deck is a great example on why Sire to Nathrius is not the main win condition. Now let's get into the Mulligan. According to HS Replay, the most commonly kept cards are Jackpot, Blackwater Cutlass, Reconnaissance, Wildpaw Knoll, Shrouded Concealment, SI7 Extortion, as well as Queen Ashara. These cards are especially important to have at the beginning of the game because they make our Wildpaw Knolls 0 mana. But one important thing to keep in mind with this deck is that you have multiple cards that are adding cards from other classes to your hand. So just because you reveal yourself as a rogue when your Wildpaw Knolls are only 3 mana doesn't mean that you can't discount them more. So if you have Jackpot ready to go on turn 2 but you don't feel like your Knolls are 0 mana yet, don't worry about it, just play the Jackpot. Because odds are, once you draw your Swiftscale Trickster, you're going to have a massive turn that you're not going to want to say no to. Knolls are important, but scamming wins can sometimes be a little bit more important. And when it's the early stages of the game, you have to try and build up some sort of win con if you're not immediately building up tempo. Cards like Tooth and Nefarian, Swiftscale Trickster, as well as Theatar should only be kept in certain situations. You can keep Tooth if you believe that you're going up against a matchup to where you need to clear 1/3 minions, such as Naga Priest. But cards like Swiftscale my god. But cards like Swiftscale Trickster should only be kept if you have Jackpot in hand. And to be honest, I really can't tell you what matchups you want to keep Theatar in, but I imagine that you may want to keep this card against Druid, Mage, Priest, and debatably other rogues. But I would not recommend keeping this card in your Mulligan due to the fact that you can always just draw into it later, and most likely, you want to wait until the perfect time to throw out your Theatar. Meaning that this card is just going to be a dead card until you finally feel like you can get value out of it, and then it can still miss. But it is important to note that Theatar is amazing in this deck because of Shadow Step. So even if you miss, you have the chance of going for it again. But be careful about how you use your Shadow Steps. This card is an extremely useful resource that you should only use when you know that it's going to massively benefit you. Because Shadow Stepping cards like Edwin, Theatar, or Sire to Nathrius are going to be the most important decisions that you have during your games. Now let's take a peek at the Mulligan win rate. And you'll notice that a lot of the same cards were featured in the kept Mulligan win rate. And most of the cards on top are your major tempo cards. Cards like Queen Ashara, Jackpot, Edwin, and Krakatoa have the best capabilities of giving you not only a large minion, but ways of being able to deal with your opponent's threats. So in order to win with this deck, you have to juggle your tempo options as well as your random options. And more times than not, going for tempo is going to be the most powerful. But you don't want to be completely reliant on RNG when your tempo options may lead you to victory. Overall, I think this deck is an insane amount of fun. Choices honestly matter with this deck, and that's one thing I absolutely love about it. As I was saying earlier, there are times you have to choose to go for tempo and times to go for your scam. And if you don't have the foresight to plan ahead your turns, this deck will just fall apart on you. Which is why I am stressing the difficulty of this deck. Every single choice is gonna feel like it matters to some degree. Especially since this deck has a fair win rate against almost any deck that you'll see on the ladder, you need to make sure that you're playing as effectively as possible. And in case you guys would like to see some of these decisions being juggled, I have included some gameplay for you. So if you're on the edge of crafting some cards for this deck, hopefully some of my gameplay clips will be able to convince you that this deck is very powerful. And as always, if you enjoy this kind of content, feel free to like this video and subscribe to the YouTube channel to be notified about any other future uploads we happen to come out with. And I would also like to give out a quick shout out to everybody who has been watching this month, because this was one of my best months on YouTube ever. So I seriously appreciate every single one of you for watching this video. Thank you so much for making it to the end of this deck breakdown, and we'll see you for the next video. I don't think I should keep Murloc Holmes, but I'm going to because I love him. I'm trying to make this deck work because I need some clips for a video. And of course, when I'm testing the deck and trying to figure it out, I get like the goofiest high rolls. But now I actually have to beat people while trying and not screwing up, and that can be very difficult. Oh man. Talk about going crazy. Talk about going crazy. Not really. It's not that weird. It could be weirder.
It kind of sucks to use my serrated knives this way, but I mean, I'm just gonna stop his threats while I can. And then a 4-mana high main. Yes, please. 3-4. Suddenly we're playing Arena, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, hello. This guy's actually ready for Arena. This guy's got his Arena deck ready. I need to focus. So we know all of his cards have in his mulligan. So obviously it's Wicked Shipment. What is in that hand right now? I want to say that it's Imp. But it could be Drag Below. He's only lost 2 minions, so it wouldn't be infused yet. Okay, no, it has to be Grimoire because he's playing the control. I mean, no, it has to be Bartender, right?
He probably would have played the Bartender earlier instead of like.
He's playing the Cultist though. It has to be the Grim. Yeah, I think it has to be the Grim.
Choose soon.
Job done.
I'm a detective now. Yeah, I think yeah, good call, Siri. Exactly. Curse Imp doesn't care about Bartender.
Oh, I thought that was the deal with Murloc Holmes, was that he showed you specific cards here.
Oh, dude, he's gonna be so mad. He's going to be so mad. He's going to be so mad. Oh my god, he's going to be so angry, ladies. I would be furious. I would be furious if this was me.
Here we
I'm
go.
so sorry. I don't make the high rolls, okay? I just roll them. If you need some detective work, and I can always help, I usually get it. Now, we did know this was happening. This is true. We did know this was happening. And we have only one answer right now. What is that card in hand? We have no idea. What if it's Dreadlich? Should just play High Main, yeah, and not overcomplicate it. Because then I also have this getting infused and I can boop boop. Yeah, you're definitely right. I would have been ready to rage quit. Nah, man. What if he wins? What if he wins? I could have played Theatar and stopped that from happening. Oh, no. What are you doing? Stop it. Stop hitting me. Rafam. I was actually kind of worried about Rafam. Alright, I need to get some heals. I need to get some heals out of this jackpot. I have played Theatar into, like, give them the Abyssal Curse. It's so funny. Okay, so this is at 3 now. That's a lot of damage. But I also could go for Jackpot and Trickster combos, but I feel like now is just the best time to play Theatar. Do we care about taking Tamsin more than Rafam? I think the Rafam is going to become a bigger threat later, right? Yeah. I love doing that. Take those goddamn spells. Ooh. I think I'm gonna hold on to that for now. And then if the 4-2s die, I have Rafam. Or maybe it is just play Miracle Growth here. Nah. Now that we have Null. No, I didn't. I kept the Theatar alive.
Keep your enemies close.
That's fine. You can have one of those. I'm gonna have the 4-2s. And another Null. And minions for me to trade into is good for the Rafam. Because then I will bring back Imps. You had to kill 2 Imps? I feel like we're fine. I feel like we're absolutely fine. If I don't want to steal that card, and if he ends up playing it again, that uses up his whole turn. That's better than him, like, setting up, yeah, like the curses, for example. Like, this is what terrifies me. Him playing 3-3s, not so terrifying. Yikes. 11? Contraband is just gonna play the curses, dude. That's what I just said. Like, unfortunately, no matter what I do. Maybe I should just play this first, because it was more likely to hit one or the other. Every time.
Let's muddy the waters.
Pretty screwed no matter what, though.
Stick to the shadows. Hear that sizzle?
Two more curses are gonna do it. He has another wave or drag its rip. I mean, he needs 2 of them. Can I actually kill him before that? I think it's possible. I think it's possible. It's doable. Now that I have Sire Denathrius for healing too.
Fire never hurt nobody.
Yeah, I think that, yeah, dude. And now that we have Denathrius, like, this seems fine. Well, yeah, I could trade this and it'd be 11. Yeah, dude, I'm just gonna do this. It's GG now, right? Oh, and it cleared the board. It's just over. Yeah. Denathrius for 11. Just GG from that point. Don't even have the mana to like play like best in show with like the hero power and the prep, but it's fine. Yeah, dude, that was nuts. That was actually nuts. We just pulled this around. Like I said, man, like I didn't care about like the 3/3s. I just cared about the curses stacking up, and it almost worked. Denathrius played not as a lethal win con. That's the thing I love about Denathrius, man. Like, there's more than just one way of being able to play him. Like, yeah, there are times where he just seems like, you know, an inevitability. I can't really say that very quickly. Feels very inevitable to lose to this card at times, but in this kind of game, like, this was my comeback. I feel like the only way you can, like, meaningfully nerf Sire Denathrius is getting rid of the lifesteal if you want it to be a combo card, or putting a cap on the damage if you don't want it to be, you know, a card that becomes ridiculous for combo decks, but you still want it to have, like, you know, exactly what happened here, where, you know, it's your comeback card. That 11 life and dealing damage to the board, bam, easy. That was what I needed in order to guarantee win this game, and that guy quit because of it. Like, there's a lot of ways that you can nerf Denathrius, but no matter what you do, you have to ask yourself, what kind of decks do we want to deny Denathrius in the most? And that's how we should base the nerfs around him. I think I've stolen Guff exactly 1 time. Alright, keep those tradable cards. Pocket Train is actually playing this right now, and it just reminded me. Oh, wait, there's a deck by Casey where it's Naga Priest. I'm sorry, not Naga Priest, Naga Mage. The good old-fashioned Spitelash Siren deck. The deck is back, ladies and gentlemen, and apparently it is worth playing. Really miss some Naga Mage. Dude, Extortion! I literally spent this entire game trying to trade the Extortion so it wouldn't take the mana cheat, and yet here we are. I need to post less and stream more. Halo Ghost? Dude, that is so dead. I'm never letting that live. I guess the 0-mana Extortion not so bad anymore. Ramming Mount against potentially Naga Priest? Hello. I will definitely take that. You know, honestly, I probably should have just traded and just hero powered. I could have saved Tooth for later. That was a very unnecessary use of Tooth.
Why are you going against Chad to win?
Chad to win.
Sorry, Squishy, I'm working.
Oh my god, dude, Ramming Mount though. If he doesn't have the silence, this just solos him. Oh my god. Oh my god, the Ramming Mount. Never mind. Maybe this was the win. Maybe this was how we win guaranteed. Goodbye. Your board is dead unless you silence me. I never get to have any fun. I never get to have any goddamn fun. I bet he did. I bet he had a blast. I bet he had a blast doing that. Oh my god. I hate everything. I hate everything. I made one little mistake, and now that one little mistake becomes a not necessarily a colossal mistake, but it's a much bigger mistake than it was a couple turns ago. I had the easiest win of my life, and he has quite literally one of the only 2 cards in his entire deck to counter it. It's a very sad tale. A tale as old as time. A song as old as rhyme.
Pick me.
Yeah, I'm gonna trade this way in order to keep the minions up. Yeah, there's a way that I might not get value out of any of my crab claws, but being able to remove is number one. But the thing I'm more so worried about is like feeding Devour. But if he feeds Devour, then the crab survives, right? So I'll still have 10 damage ready to go. Devour? No, no Devour? Ah, so it is Devour. But it's still less than 10. I guess I can't kill this without help, but I've got the help. Now I've definitely got the help. Let's take a look. It was Handmaiden. Is this Samoro?
Oh yeah, he already played one.
Oh, it is with the bless. I mean, honestly, that's good information to have, right? Well, this is funny. Let's take another peek. Pelagos, because you played it early. We know it's not Samoro, so it's Slithery Boy probably. Wait, no, it's the Amalgam. Devour.
Smell you.
These are all garbage. Honestly, let's not forget the fact that I have Pelagos into Devour. Honestly, I probably should have picked another Murloc, but I was thinking like getting another Krakatoa. That's where my line was, but I didn't realize just how bad the other beasts are. Good lord, the other beasts are so terrible. Yeah, I think I'm gonna keep playing this deck until I lose again. Because, like, the matchups where you lose, I really hate to say, but, like, you just delay the inevitable. If I put it on, like, my weakest minion, let's see. So this is 9, 12. No, I put it on my highest HP because I already have, these already have the attack. So let's see if I actually have lethal here. So this is 12, 16. If I Pelagos into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, this becomes a 10. So 10, 12, that's 3 damage off. There's no way that I can... Wait.
You can Shadow Step the Krakatoa, right?
I mean, I 100% should just Shadow Step the crab, but
Well, I'm saying
I don't have the mana to do it. Wait, I do have the mana to do all of that.
Yeah, and it gives you...
Wait, this is lethal then. Oh my god, this is lethal then.
Blessing, I will find the truth.
Wait, what? Ah, damn it. I should have attacked with the crabs. Oh, no. Oh, wait a minute. No, it's because I counted the wicked stab. That's why. Oh, I counted the I counted the wicked stab. Oh, no. Oh, my calculations had the wicked stab. And I've also got this. Like, I don't think he can win. I'm at 37 life. It becomes really difficult for him to kill me. Yo, what's going on, Nwanji? Or wait, no, Nwani. Sorry. I don't know why I saw a G, but I thought I saw a G for a second. Good to have you here, man. Oh, geez. Oh, no, a 10-10. Dude, his amalgam is smaller than mine. His amalgam is much smaller than mine.
You have been.
The pleasure is mine. Well played, dude. Yeah, dude, this deck is fun. This deck is really fun.